The United States has invested trillions of dollars engineering physical infrastructure, paving roads, reinforcing bridges, and expanding broadband utility grids. Yet the nation has invested almost nothing in the invisible infrastructure that dictates whether citizens actually participate in those systems. Across the country, public confidence is collapsing simultaneously across multiple sectors. Patients distrust healthcare providers. Citizens disengage from court proceedings. Parents pull away from public education. Constituents reject government guidance. Leadership often misdiagnoses this decline. They treat dropping public confidence as a messaging problem to be solved with better communications, public relations campaigns, and rebranding. Data shows something different. The decline in public trust is a severe structural governance problem. When institutions lose legitimacy, the people they serve stop cooperating, and daily operations break down. The Federal Trust and Integrity Restoration Act, or FTIRA, is built entirely on a single axiom: trust infrastructure. The legislation strips away the idea that trust is an abstract feeling. Instead, it categorizes trust as a strictly measurable output that can be engineered, stress-tested, and funded. The Act sets strict boundaries on capital deployment. The text explicitly states the objective is not to fund ideology. It completely prohibits spending on superficial marketing campaigns, directing funds exclusively towards initiatives that produce measurable outcomes. The ultimate directive of the grant program is to rebuild institutional legitimacy and public confidence from the ground up, block by block. FTIRA provides the architectural blueprint required to engineer, measure, and maintain public confidence with the exact same rigor that civil engineers apply to maintaining a national power grid. To engineer trust as infrastructure, you cannot treat it as a monolith. You have to deconstruct the concept into specific, measurable components. This empty 7-axis radar chart represents the FTIRA's foundational framework, the 7 dimensions of public trust. The first 2 dimensions track visibility and consequence. Transparency asks, can people understand exactly how decisions are made? Accountability asks, can decision-makers be held responsible for the outcomes? Next, accessibility measures whether ordinary people can meaningfully participate in the system. Integrity tracks whether an institution's actions actually align with its stated values. The 5th dimension, responsiveness, evaluates if public concerns are acknowledged and addressed. 6th, fairness, measures if people perceive the administrative procedures as equitable. The final dimension anchors the rest of the model, human impact. Are individuals and communities tangibly better off after interacting with the institution? This exact framework evaluates the integrity of our justice systems, allowing administrators to audit courts, mediation programs, prosecutors, and public defenders. It is simultaneously applied across other massive public sectors. State agencies, school districts, universities, and healthcare clinics are all mapped against these exact same dimensions. Once an institution is mapped, the program targets specific priority innovation areas. Technological interventions are designed to slot directly into whichever of the 7 dimensions is failing. If an agency scores poorly on transparency, capital is deployed to build explainable AI systems, enforce algorithm transparency, and establish strict human oversight frameworks. By utilizing this 7-part framework, the federal government finally has a standardized method to quantify and repair the structural integrity of any public institution in America. Identifying a structural failure is only the first step. The system requires practical financial mechanics to fund the repair. This waterfall chart maps the grant hierarchy established by the FTIRA. Funding starts at $50,000 for community trust grants and scales up precisely through regional and state levels, culminating in $50 million national demonstration grants. Notice the restriction on this capital. These funds strictly bypass traditional communications departments. You cannot buy a billboard to fix a broken operational procedure. Instead, the capital is injected directly into operations and infrastructure to build what the legislation calls trust technology. In justice modernization, the money deploys access to justice initiatives, constructs immutable audit trails, and builds evidence integrity systems. For civic participation, the grants build participatory governance tools, interactive public dashboards, and citizen feedback platforms that lock community input directly into the decision-making process. These grants act as highly targeted capital injections. They grease the gears of governance, eliminating the systemic friction that causes an institution to stall. The foundational rule of systems engineering is that you cannot manage an asset you do not measure. This is the National Trust Index. It serves as the FTIRA's ultimate measurement engine and federal database. Look at the data ingestion pipeline. Every day, millions of qualitative, real-world human interactions happen inside our institutions. A patient at a clinic, a citizen at a courthouse, A parent at a school board meeting. The index pulls those soft, qualitative human experiences through the pipeline and converts them into hard, quantifiable data points. It aggregates specific external metrics, public confidence ratings, response times, complaint resolution rates, and the results of independent external audits. Simultaneously, it tracks internal operational metrics, correlating procedural fairness with internal employee engagement. The output of this pipeline generates annual federal reports. The data identifies high-performing sectors to model while immediately flagging emerging trust vulnerabilities before they trigger a systemic collapse. This creates a permanent, objective feedback loop. Leadership no longer guesses how the public views them. They have the exact telemetry to adjust operations. The National Trust Index creates the first real-time telemetry system dedicated entirely to tracking the structural health of American democracy. The United States once marshaled its engineering power to put a human on the moon. Today, the challenge is different, but it requires the exact same level of coordinated ambition. This chart tracks the public trust moonshot. The goal: increase measurable public trust across institutions by exactly 25%. A rigid 10-year timeline is attached, demanding immediate operational execution. When hit, systemic friction resolves. Bottlenecks clear, synchronizing the network into a highly efficient, cooperative system. The societal impacts are immediate. Social cohesion strengthens. Citizens begin participating in civic processes rather than attempting to bypass them. The economic impacts are equally severe. Better governance creates highly effective public institutions, driving stronger overall economic performance across communities. Trust is not a soft outcome. It is a strategic, hard asset. It functions as the invisible, load-bearing wall of a functioning society. The modern landscape offers a stark choice for leadership. The institutions that successfully engineer this infrastructure will earn the confidence required to define the future. The institutions that ignore it will structurally fail.